Welcome to The Ancient Way. I'm James.
I'm Marlia.
The squeal, the voice. Have you ever seen Courage the Cowardly Dog?
No, I've never even heard of that.
One of the scariest cartoons ever, but it's about a scared dog. And sometimes when he screams, it sounds like the voice we heard.
Wow.
That wailing sound. Anyways.
You know, I asked several people and nobody else could hear that. They could not hear the voice.
No, Todd heard it.
Well,
and Dory heard it.
Okay, well, there was like 2 or 3 other people I asked and they were like, I couldn't hear it. I turned it up. And I was like, yo, it was so loud in here. We've got headphones. It's a soundproof room.
It was like somebody stuck their head in the vent up there and screamed. Yeah.
Wild times we live in.
I'm going to go back. I'm going to amplify it somehow so everybody can hear it.
Because it's pretty intense.
Because you can hear it on the recording. It's difficult. It's not like it was in person, but it's there.
Yeah. Well, it's because these mics are so dope.
Mm-hmm.
Like, these are high quality mics.
Yeah. This is what Joe Rogan uses.
Yeah. If we had crappy mics, it probably could have picked it up.
Yeah. That's true.
We got to be fancy.
Yeah. Yeah, we are.
Well, one of the things I wanted to get into right off the bat in this is the value of owning your story. Like owning the very things that you have walked through in your entire life.
Yeah.
I think from like birth until this very moment that you're in right now.
Yeah.
I think that when you can own your story and even all the negative and all the good and own all of it, be able to look at it, evaluate it, invite the Lord into it. Yeah. There's power behind it.
There is.
Very strange, dude. Yesterday, these were aspects of my story that I hadn't fully owned yet. And honestly, they were good.
Yeah.
They were good things. I had multiple people come to me. One told me a story of a girl that I knew from high school, which, by the way, I live like 3 hours away from my place where I grew up.
Yeah.
But her sister has moved to Tyler.
Oh.
And is actually friends with a friend of mine. Like, just weird. You know how it's just strange.
Yeah.
It's like full circle stuff. Well, she had told this friend of mine, she was like, you know, when Marlia was in high school, I just so appreciated her because we had just moved to Belton and my sister was so her sister is my age. And she was like, my sister had just moved and she didn't have very many friends. And she was like, I just appreciated, like, Marlia just took her in and became like such a good friend to her. I honestly didn't think twice about it. I was just like, yeah, this is who she is. Like, she's a super dope girl. But, you know, 15 years later, I'm now hearing how much of an impact it actually made in that girl's life.
Yeah.
And I was like, that is wild. It's wild that it's been this long.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize the significance that I had made. And then I had another friend like send me a message at like 10:30 at night and was like, hey, I just want you to know I met with a friend that you knew 10 years ago when you were in college. And she was just saying how, you know, she was carrying like all this shame and then like you had ran into her and you like broke off all this shame and you had like spoken so much life over her and like this heavy weight that she had been carrying was completely dismantled. And I was just like, holy crap. I didn't even realize I had done that. Yeah. And what has struck me, one, I thought it was interesting, 2 things from the very long time ago coming back around. But what struck me about it was that when you own your story, you can own the good. Yeah. You know, like you can own like, yo, I do sow words of life into people. Right. I do. Like, look at the authority I have carried. Yeah. Look at the things I have done that I've partnered with heaven in. Yeah. Because I think sometimes we can get dismissive of that. Right. And just be like, well, yeah, that's just what we do or whatever. Like, we don't take ownership of it. We don't let it become a part of us. Yeah. We just are waiting on the Lord and wanting things from the Lord to be imparted, which I'm all about, you know. Yeah. But like owning that part of your story is like, yo, what you have is so valuable. And sometimes the negative will try and prevent you from stepping into all of the good. Yeah. You know, so you have to own the bad. Right. And acknowledge it, like look at it, walk through it. Yeah. You know, and I think sometimes that comes from like your parenting, like parents and how they related with you and learning how to rewire your brain,
Right.
like taking every thought captive, like forgiving them.
Well, one thing about owning the bad is like, and it's just a power to be able to go into third person and to own all of it, to see it and examine it. Like to own the bad, you can say like, oh, I was in that. I don't know. I like talking about it because it's like, I'm not that anymore. And I was. It's like, look what I've been brought out of. But the good is interesting. Okay. Kelsey and I, our 10-year anniversary Wednesday. 10. Anyways, Mom, I guess she posted a post about it or something, and there were some old pictures on it. And I hated myself in those pictures. And I know some of us have had this thing about looking at your old self before. There were certain ones is like I wanted to go back in time and just knock myself out.
Yeah.
You know? But I had a guy that I went to school with reach out to me randomly on Facebook. I'll pull the message up. And we knew each other back in high school. We were friendly, but we didn't hang out and stuff like that. But he just reached out to me a while back, and here we go. He's right here. Oh, wow. I forgot some of these conversations. Where's he at?
That's what happens when you're popular on Facebook, James.
I'm not popular. A lot of this is work related. People, the door's locked. A lot of them.
That's hysterical.
Okay. Anyways, I can't find it. But it was just, hey man, how are you? Things look to be doing good, going well for you. He just said like, you were always just a solid guy. You were always just a solid dude. That's all he said. And I'm sitting here despising myself, like back in high school and stuff like that. And that's what he remembers, you know? And so I had to own that and really think about it. Like, there was this sense of honor that I have had, that I've always had, despite all the other stuff. But, yeah, it's there.
Why do you think it's so hard for people to actually own the good?
Ooh. Gosh, I don't know. You hit that.
I personally think the reason in my own life is because religion so hyper focuses on the bad.
Yeah.
It is the tree of knowledge of good and evil, but it is so much of the evil. If you can get yourself into self-hatred and no compassion for yourself, you can't extend that to somebody else.
Right.
Because only to the degree that you believe this about yourself can you give it to somebody else.
Right.
Like, I love that scripture that Jesus said, like, these are the two, like, love the Lord your God and then love your neighbor as yourself. There has to be full love and full acceptance of everything in your life.
Yeah.
And knowing that your story is extremely powerful and extremely valuable, that nothing will go to waste, and that you can actually impart the very things that you walk through into other people.
Yeah.
Like, and so what's the oldest trick in the book? Convince you that you're not.
Right.
So to Adam and Eve,
that
was the oldest trick in the book. Convince them that they're not like God.
Yeah.
And so I think that's why.
Yeah. Yeah, that is interesting.
Yeah.
But that's true. It's true about loving yourself. You have to know how valued you are. And I think from that place, then you can see outwardly and you can value other people. But I think you have to know. You've got to know who you are and how much the Lord values you, why he made you.
I think you have to value the good within you.
Yeah.
Like you have to, like, there are certain things about your life that nobody else will actually experience.
Yeah.
You are the only one that can bring this piece to this puzzle because nobody else has walked through it.
Right.
And it's incredibly valuable for the world.
Yeah. Well, that's cool. I think I've thought this, but I think Jordan Peterson wrote about this or spoke about it. But it's in one of his books, but he says, treat yourself as if you're someone that you're responsible for.
Whoa.
Almost as if you're not like your body, you're not you here on the earth, you're somewhere else and you're responsible for. Yeah, it was the way he said it was very interesting, but it goes back to what you said about being able to almost like to separate yourself and see your life and examine everything.
Yeah.
And examine, who you are. Yeah, it's interesting.
I was listening to a guy who actually talked about the most compassionate people are the ones that self-evaluate.
Yeah.
Without criticism, without all of that, but they're constantly looking and evaluating their own life.
Yeah.
Releasing certain things and like actually being present in their own sphere.
Yeah.
Because I think religion also does that. It like you get blinded.
Yeah.
And they like, oh, I shouldn't look at myself, or it's just perverted and it's like, oh, I'm just nothing but a worthless sinner.
Yeah.
Like one of those two. But I think it's so important to actually evaluate and hold your story.
Yeah.
Because then it will birth more compassion within you. It will cause you to be able to fully connect to somebody.
Yeah.
Because you've owned that thing in your life. So it like becomes a bridge.
Yeah.
There's
such destiny and purpose in it. And yeah, it is a bridge. It's a bridge from that, but then it's like you're in the present and you have the decision on where it goes from here too.
Oh yeah.
And that's like, oh, you still have the story to create and walk out and be.
Oh yeah, dude.
Yeah.
And I think it looks like that Romans 8, right? Like he works all things together for the good of those who love him and called according to his purpose. It's like, well, one, that's everybody.
Yeah.
It's flipping everybody. If you choose to lay hold of it. But I think we kind of can pervert that thought into thinking like, oh, it sucks now, but it'll eventually be good.
Yeah.
It's like, no, there's good right here. There was good in your past amongst the bad.
Yeah.
He is things, all that is good.
Right.
Every good and perfect gift comes from the Father of lights. And so I think there is like, this almost feels like a way that you break out of cycles.
Yeah.
Go find the good.
Yeah.
Go look at the good in your life. Go find the places that you're like, that had impact.
Yeah.
That shifted me. This guy was explaining, and I was like, oh my Lord, that is brilliant. But he was like, your life is a story.
Yeah.
So think about what an actual story is.
Right.
You've got a plot line. You've got different settings. For every place that you're at, like we're in a setting right now where something is being defined here. Your third grade teacher, your third grade class, like there's something that was defined there.
Yeah.
There's characters, right? So you've got your teachers, you've got the people closest to you.
Yeah.
You've got your spouse.
Conflict.
Yeah. Like everything that a true story line has, your life has it.
Right.
And so it's being able to look at it like a storyboard.
Yeah.
And
that's interesting.
Pull it out.
Yeah.
Like what is the story of my life? What's it been telling all along?
Yeah.
And grab hold of that. Because I think when you can, like you were saying, like pull away from it and you see your life, it's like, holy crap, I see what my destiny's been all along.
Yeah.
Now I see what my purpose has been because I tried to get shut down there. I tried to get shut down there.
Yeah.
My parents definitely tried to shut me down there.
Right.
Which, like, I actually forgive them, but it's real. Like, our parents sucked. Some of them did. Like, we should just actually acknowledge that.
Yeah.
But anyways. But yeah, that's what I think.
Yeah, it's interesting. Well, the story thing is interesting. I had a conversation with a guy years ago in work, and we were talking about the hero's journey and stuff like that. And he was like, yeah, it's in the Bible. It's in all the narratives from all the religions and cultures. He's like, they're copies of the hero's journey, basically, like the redemptive story arc and everything like that. And he said, so basically, culture and everything is built on those stories and stuff like that. And I was like, yeah, that's cool. I was like, but I think it's like, what if that's because that's the truth? What if that's the ultimate truth of everything? And what if it was like before the foundations of the earth? It's just so ingrained in our nature of who we are is redemption.
Yeah.
And that's why it plays out in all these different forms and fashions. And it's like, what if that's the core of it? It was just like, oh yeah, that's probably it.
Yeah.
You know?
I think that's beautiful because it's like, look at the redemption in your life. Look at all the things that have been redeemed.
Yeah.
And if you're having a trouble seeing it, find one thing.
Yeah.
Because I guarantee you there's something that got redeemed in your life.
Yeah.
And hold on to that because it will snowball.
Yeah.
You know?
I think the most powerful, pivotal point you can have is realizing that you own your story.
Mm-hmm.
And from that point, I mean, you're not a victim anymore.
Yeah.
You can be in the middle of just crap town, whatever, and then you can realize it in the depths of it. And you can say, oh, I'm powerful. It's through connection with the Lord. It's through who he made you to be. But it's like, oh, wait a minute. When you see it, what do they say? Anyways, it's like, oh, and then from that point, you're completely empowered and you're good wherever you're at.
Totally.
It's just the launch pad. But that's the thing that people at the meetup last night, we kind of hit on it a little bit. Of like when you realize who you are, there's no competition anymore.
Totally.
There's none of that stuff. And you...
Totally, because you know what you bring.
Yes.
You know how valuable your piece is to this puzzle.
And then you happen to the world.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because you're not trying to copy somebody else.
Yeah.
I think copying looks like I don't know me.
Right. Yeah.
And I'm scared to own some things.
Mm-hmm. It's something to latch onto.
Mm-hmm.
That's not you.
Yeah.
It's a distraction.
And gets you to play small and gets you squashed and gets you in despair. It gets you in depression. It gets you in anxiety. It gets you to literally be the exact opposite of who you really are. Yeah. Because then you play small.
Right. Yeah, you're selling yourself short.
Mm-hmm.
Huh. Yeah, that's cool.
But it's like if we would actually acknowledge, I don't know, I feel that, like, write down your story, which I actually had a dream about that a long time ago, where an angel came to me. We were sitting at a desk and she said, it's time to write your story. And I said, no. And the Lord came in and stood behind me and he said, it's time to write your story.
Really?
And I was like, okay, yeah. I remember this because I called Daniel. I was driving to a game in Abilene. Yeah. And I was like processing this dream. I just had it and I was kind of processing it. And I was like, I don't know what that means. Yeah. And I was honest to God, I was scared. I was scared to write my story down. God, this was probably 5 or 6 years ago.
Oh, wow.
But I called him and he was like, sounds like you need to write your story down. And I was like, are you sure? Did you get it from that? Yeah. I was literally trying to find another way to not write my story. Right. Because I didn't want to fully take ownership
of all of it
for the good in it. I was scared of the good. Because I had so much self-hatred. Yeah. I thought I was the runt of the litter. I thought I was the outcast. I thought that everything I did, I was going to have to gain somebody's approval before I could function. Yeah. Which I'm going to be blunt. That was how I was raised. Yeah. That was, my parents ingrained that in me. Whether they knew it or not. Yeah. That was definitely how I was raised. Yeah. And that I was scared to own. Right. I was scared to acknowledge, like, they screwed up. Yeah. I was scared to acknowledge, like, that I had still bore fruit in it too. Like, just all of it. Oh, yeah. Like, it was like the shame, the good, the bad, like, but then I wrote it down and I began to see it. Yeah. I began to see what it was actually like. Oh, this is
healing too.
It's so healing. Yeah. It is so healing to just write your story out. Yeah. And for those of you that are like playwriters, write it out like a script. Yeah. I mean. Yeah. I haven't told anybody this, but I started writing mine from the very first memory I've ever had. Are you kidding?
No, it's in my phone right now. I haven't told anybody about it, but you just brought it up. So yeah, it's healing. And yeah, there's so much value in it. And there's stuff like I just going through it. It's like, oh, and then you skim through it, and you find all the value in it, and you can see, oh, the Lord was here, and you can see how it all played out. This tried to shut me down. It's valuable.
One of the things, I flipping love that. one of the things that I realized about my own deal was much of my memories were negative. Interactions with my family, interactions with my sisters.
Yeah.
All I remember is all the things I did wrong and all the things that they did wrong. And I actually had to ask the Lord to come in on that. And I think that's where a lot of the self-hatred came in.
Right.
Is because I really believe I was conditioned to think this way by the enemy and by my parents.
Yeah.
I don't think it was intentional by them, but it happened.
Yeah.
Because they're both actually very negative in their nature.
Yeah.
Currently.
Right.
I mean, they're just pessimist at times.
Yeah.
But I had to go look at those and see, okay, well, why? Why is everything I perceive negative? And why am I interpreting myself negative? And why am I interpreting people negative?
Yeah.
And that's where, like, for me, like, I had so much criticism towards people.
Yeah.
It's because I was surrounded by it. I was engulfed in it. And just realizing, like, okay, that was then, but this is now. And I think, like, taking ownership of that and then taking ownership of this very moment of, like, oh, this doesn't have to be this way anymore.
Yeah.
I can actually let this go. And once you identify behaviors that have happened from the past and even, like, memories of the past, it's inviting the Lord in on those and saying, like, okay, what's your way?
Yeah.
What is the way of my dad, my true dad, the one of the kingdom whose DNA I now have?
Yeah.
You know, because, and how do I walk this out? What is the practical steps? Like, I think that is so important in releasing trauma out of you, releasing trauma from your story.
Yeah.
Where it,
well, even forgiving yourself.
Yeah.
Forgiving your old self, which is something I obviously need to do, but you can see, forgiveness and the grace, you can afford that to yourself in those situations when you are present and connect with him on it, you know, when you see it.
Yeah.
And it almost redeems it forward and back.
Yes.
And so, it could even your family and stuff. Yeah. When you're whole in those things and you find that, it backfires and it forward fires.
So I have a story about that.
Yeah.
I don't know if I've told it on here or not, but talking about forwarding and backwarding. And so I went through this huge, this is going to be transparent. I hope it's not fully exposing, but I had a lot of issues with my mom for a long time. I had a lot of anger. I had to set boundaries. Like, my counselor advised me, like, you need to set boundaries because you're not getting healed from this. Like, you keep enticing conflict with her.
Right.
And so I was like, okay, anyway, so I did. I cut her off. We stopped talking for years. Which it was very hard for her. But
oh yeah.
Anyways, which the Lord has been restoring it. Like, I had dreams about, like, it was time for communion again. And anyway, so I know that's all been initiated by the Lord.
Yeah.
But I got, like, fully set free from it to where, like, nothing that my mother does triggers me at all. Like, I actually have mad love for my mom.
Yeah.
But it was cool because the 2 or 3 times last time that we went down to visit, she was like, Marlia, I think I got a word of knowledge, which, mind you, my parents, we grew up Southern Baptist. This was not, they didn't have this language.
Yeah.
She's been telling me about how she's been listening to the prophets. But it was so inspiring because she was like, I feel like I'm starting to understand what it means to have my authority.
Wow.
And I was like, that's cool. And she was like, I felt like I had a word of knowledge. Well, she didn't say that language. I put language to that.
Yeah.
She was like, I just knew in my spirit that Gentry had, my cousin or my niece had this appendicitis.
Yeah.
And I was like, because she rolled in and told my sister, like, yo, I really think you need to get her to the hospital. Like, she was like, I know it's her appendix.
Yeah.
And I told my mom, I was like, yo, like, that's actually you seeing by the Spirit.
Yeah.
And she was like, yeah. She said, I had the same thing happen. I had an accident. There was a car accident that happened right in front of me.
Yeah.
It was a horrible head-on collision. And she got out and she, like, got to pray over the lady. And, which she did not know my story about how I'd just rolled up on that wreck and got to pray over these ladies. And Anyways, she was just talking to me about it. And she was like, that she had her 3 boys in there and the driver didn't make it, the other driver of the head on, because she was driving down I-35. I don't know if you've ever been on this highway, right, between Austin and Waco.
Mm-hmm.
But this dude was so drunk, he had turned off his he didn't have his headlights on, and he came on the ramp the wrong direction and hit a lady head on. Well, my mom had just moved to the other lane, and it did hit this lady. The other guy died in it, but the lady and her 3 boys were there. My mom got to actually pray over them. What's cool though is my sisters were in a car accident back in 2005. In which my older sister should have died. My younger sister, they were all in ICU. My older sister had 3 brain bleeds. She had to relearn how to walk, talk, learn. I mean, everything. Well, it was super traumatic on our family. And that was honestly the moment I checked out from our family. I was just like, I'm out. Nobody ain't got time for me. I ain't got time for nobody else. I was kind of left to my own resources because my mother literally lived at the hospital with my older sister. And my mom and I actually got to talk about how restorative that was for her. She was like, I walked through that car accident with your sisters, and then I got to turn around and be hope for somebody else and pray for them. And it was just like, yo, this is redemption. This is what redemption is. You can go through some stuff, but you can then turn around and impart that once you've come through it. You know what I mean? And it was just cool because we got to talk about that. And it was like she was waking up to her authority. But had I not owned some of my stuff, had I not walked through my own process, I'm not so sure we would be in this exact moment where we're at. You know what I mean? Because it did. I felt like the redemption went back up my line. It went to my mother. And she started kicking into to a gear. But anyways, it just made me think of that.
Well, that's cool. It's the literal essence of everything is redemption. And we get to walk it out and live it. And as we do that, it's revealed in everything around us. That's cool. And your mom too. That's cool. She got that, the word of knowledge.
Yeah.
You can't take that from her.
No.
So
no,
that's cool.
Well, she was so excited because then she looked back on her life and she goes, that happened with me when my older sister is a type 1 diabetic. And she was like, I had that. I had the same thing happen when before she was diagnosed. She was like, I just knew. And she was like, I had never really heard of diabetes. I just knew she had this. And anyway, she ended up getting her into the hospital in time, and because it was that thing's kind of a big deal. But anyways,
interesting.
It was cool though that she could go back. That was 30 years ago, and so that she had that word of knowledge
that she had it.
And then being able to connect it. But
wow, I mean, that's an example of stepping into your authority and your power now.
And
and then going back and seeing it. That's exactly what we were talking about.
And then you can go see it. You can go see oh, look at that good that was there. And I'd been missing that all along.
Right.
It's like you can go back and collect tokens or coins. Of
that's cool.
It's there.
That is cool.
Why do you think people have such a hard time pursuing things that feel scary, like the supernatural, or going after dreams, or going after visions, or going after trances? Or what do you feel like is the biggest roadblock there?
I think darkness has stolen everything. They've hijacked everything. And I mean, I know just growing up, you're taught don't open doors to stuff. And then we're also somehow taught God, he's distant. He feels distant in many circles. He's way off somewhere, or he's in the sky. He's not in you. And it's weird. It's just straight up in the Bible. That's the point, So there's that. But it's all been assigned to, power's been sapped out of Christianity, out of Christians.
Yeah.
And it's been given to, any power is dark.
Mm.
Anything that is not physical
Yeah.
is dark. Or you open doors and it's control. It's rooted in control. They keep you from that, then you have to have this priest, I guess, that tells you what's right, your pastor or something like that.
Mm.
Or you have to maintain it in your flesh. I guess that's it.
Yeah.
People don't assign power to God. They don't assign those things to him. Or it's like not his realm. Is how people view it.
What do you think is a key for people accessing those things that they've always desired?
Oh, you just got to ask him, seek him in it. That's the axis of everything.
Mm.
What do you think?
Yeah.
You're
it's that Matthew 7:7.
Uh-huh.
Like ask,
Yeah.
seek, and knock.
Yeah, that's right.
And ask and it will be given to you. Seek and you shall find.
Yeah.
Knock and it will be open to you.
Mm-hmm.
And I love that. It's like, I think the hinge point is whether or not you believe God's going to give it to you or not.
Yeah.
Because it says, do you not know that your Father in heaven wants to give you good gifts?
Yeah.
Like, if you then, knowing how to give good gifts to your children, do you not think that your Heavenly Father would give something even more to you?
Yeah.
And I think that's where, like, your belief hinges. Do I think that I am capable of stepping into this? Do I believe that I am capable of carrying this power?
Yeah.
And I think if you believe that you're capable of carrying it, you're going to carry it.
Yeah.
And I think that's where the grace message actually comes in. Do you believe that his grace is sufficient for you to walk in this magnificent power?
Yeah.
Because it's him. And I think the grace is like, it's not by anything you do.
Yeah.
It's not by your performance.
Right.
It's in your ability to receive.
Yeah.
But in believing, like, he actually has all of these things intended for you. Like, it's his intent to give it to you.
I've got one for you.
All right. No, let's do it.
You're looking up something.
I was just actually reading the Matthew 7 to make sure what I said was correct.
You want to read it?
Yeah, it says, if then you know how to give good gifts to your children, how much more will your Father who is in heaven give good things to those who ask him?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
That's the key.
Which, me as a dad,
Yeah.
us as parents, you know how much we love our children. And he's like, I'm more than that. I love you more than that. That's incredible.
Yeah.
Think of, there was something in one of the groups one night, I can't remember who, I do remember. We were talking about the goodness of God and things like that. And it was that scripture about, like, God sent his only begotten son.
Mm-hmm.
And what clicked for me was like, oh, no, he came down in the form. And he took that, he took everything on for all of us.
Mm-hmm.
But the bipolar thing twisted it. And so it looks like Santa Claus, wizard God, up in the sky, sent his son to be just tortured. And but
because of the mistranslation.
Anyway, in the group, he said, that always bothered me. He said, because I see this bully of a dad sending his son down there to get whipped for all these sinners. He said, I would never send one of my children down to be tortured. Like, he said, I would do it.
Mm-hmm.
He said, I would go down there myself and handle it for them. And I was like, that's God. Like, that's him.
That is him.
That's him. That's his heart.
Because this is what blows my mind is like the translations of things.
Yeah.
That word begotten is actually a one of a kind, meaning he was set apart.
Yeah.
He set himself apart. He was not like all the other Elohim.
Right.
All the other beings in the spirit realm. He wasn't like them.
Yeah.
It's because it was him.
Yeah.
Him himself that took on flesh and stepped into this dimension.
And that was the big secret. When he came down, nobody knew fully, like, what's the deal with this dude?
Yeah, they didn't know it was Yahweh
Darkness
himself.
didn't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's incredible.
That's how
He's
dope our
that
dad
heroic
is.
and good. Yeah, he did that for us. He came down himself and took care of it.
Yeah.
There's nothing more badass than that.
Mm-hmm.
Really isn't. He is incredible when you just sit in that. Here's my question for you. And I feel like the ones who are loyal to the Lord, who have loyal hearts, are walking this out and are going to continue to. What is an aspect of redemption, of the Lord, of the kingdom, the gospel, that we're always walking stuff out. The discipline of it becomes more and more. Is there something that you feel you have fully walked out, that you own, and it's your absolute belief?
Oof.
Because that's where we're headed with all of it, you know?
Yeah, man. There are so many things.
I mean, I guess an example would be like forgiveness.
Yeah.
It's like, is that the absolute reaction now? Like those things that come with the discipline of it and the decisions.
Yeah. Forgiveness.
Or like God is good. That's another one that's.
Yeah. I think the goodness of God that is a discipline I choose to walk through.
Yeah.
Because I think some things that show up in this natural realm will try and tell you otherwise.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it has to be a discipline to say, I'm actually not going to pay attention to the natural realm.
Yeah.
And I don't think that's being ignorant.
Yeah.
I think that's saying like he has a higher reality and his reality is good.
Yeah.
You know, it made me think of that Galatians 6 that I read for communion the other day. That was just, honestly, it jazzed me up a lot. But it says like, may my only boast be found in the cross of our Lord Jesus. In him, I have been crucified to this natural realm.
Yeah.
And the natural realm is dead to me and it no longer dominates my life.
Yeah.
For me, I would say I feel I am fully starting to walk into that.
Yeah.
Where this natural realm, where the goodness of God will take priority in my perception.
Yeah.
And even when things come in contrast, I feel myself being led into choosing the goodness of God perspective in all things.
Yeah.
And even when things flare or whatever, it's like, no, you choose the kingdom.
Yeah.
Like you choose the thing that may actually feel hard. It's
Yeah.
not saying all things are, but I think sometimes when you're looking for breakthrough, it is the hard thing. Like you have to walk through forgiveness. You have to have conversations. You know, relationally or whatever.
Yeah. That's cool.
But yeah, I feel like it's that aspect. One of those things.
Yeah.
I see redemption coming in.
Yeah.
Is that I definitely don't think the same way.
Yeah.
I've ever thought, to be honest.
Yeah.
It was funny. I feel that the way that I think today, even 6 months ago, has drastically shifted.
Yeah.
Like I feel like I don't even have the same mind. I know that sounds silly, but.
Well, that's what it is.
Yeah. But I think the biggest thing that I've seen redemption come through is in relationships.
Yeah.
I've seen more redemption through more relationships.
Yeah.
That seem to kind of be crappy for a long time.
Yeah.
But it's like it feels like a string, you know, like a sewing thing. Like he knits it together.
Yeah.
Literally. And I've been seeing relationships come back.
Yeah.
That I feel like are supposed to be in our world. You know, I think some people are like, people in our lives are there for seasons.
Yeah.
And then I think there are some people there that are for life.
Right.
You know, your lifers.
Yeah.
But I think sometimes things flare when you are around your lifers.
Yeah. Yeah, they'd have to.
Yeah.
That's how you grow. Yeah.
Yeah, but I've seen that. I've seen that in my own life.
Yeah.
Like I feel within my own person, I will choose redemption in relationships more than anything.
Yeah.
Like I will go after it.
Yeah.
I will have hard conversations.
Yeah.
Like I'm here for it.
Yeah.
Like let's do it. Let's put it on the table. Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially relationally.
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
that. And I think if more people chose to be that way with all people,
Yeah.
things would drastically shift.
Yeah.
Because I was listening to another guy who was talking about neuroplasticity, and he was saying that in your brain, the way that you wire new neurons
Yeah.
is in relationships to people.
Yeah.
They've done it in so many studies, more than any other way, it's done relationally.
Yeah.
And I think that's where it's important
Yeah.
to choose and value relationships. And that's just me. But what about you?
Yeah. Well, I would say that I feel that from you and your resolve, and even your decisions that you make them based on what the Lord says, even if it looks silly or stupid. You know, I've just seen that in you, and definitely the resolve and the difficult conversations. It's like, you mean business, you're all in, sold out, and that's inspiring, because I have a difficult time with that. Some of the difficult conversations, but it's like if you snip it out, you're gonna go for it.
Yikes!
It's good though. It's good,
and it's messy.
It's messy, but and then it's like having the humility to hear it and to receive that, and then to give it as well. That's just growth. That's just growth mindset. But you've got that for sure, and the resolve. Yeah.
What about you?
I don't know. I feel like I called it stupidity or dumbness. I don't ever worry about how stuff's going to work out. It is gone. I don't have it. And it's just like, are you stupid? Like, do you not care? And I'm just like, I just don't have it. And I'm not ignoring it. I just don't think about it. Now, I used to. It was like a fear thing and it stressed me out, but it's like, I can't even like grab onto it right now.
Yeah.
But there are certain things like that. And plus, like, my resolve is I want to accept fully all the promises that he has for us.
100.
And I want to believe it, and I want to accept it, and I want to live it, all of it. And an aspect of that is not worrying about what's going to happen.
Listen, that thing's all over the Bibles.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's like it's all there.
Yeah.
We need to...
Like, cast your cares upon him because he cares for you.
Yes.
Like, Matthew 6:30. Like,
right.
Do you not know?
And every now, stuff will pop up every now and then. And I had an example like it with the finance stuff. I was just like, I don't remember what it was. I was like, I wonder how this is going to play out or something. And I just like, well, I'm just going to turn this over to you. And then it works out.
Yeah.
But
I love that question that you always say, and it has resonated with me. Lord, how are you going to show up in this? Like asking the Lord, like how you...
It came from Dory.
Oh, well, Dory's passing it around.
Yeah.
Because it's like, yo, that's the only thing we ever need to be concerned about.
I know.
It's like, how are you showing up?
Yeah.
How are you coming in the way that you do best?
Mm-hmm. And that was that verse that I brought a group where Paul's imprisoned. And it's just like, he's going into these prisons because he's a nuclear bomb.
And a Jedi Knight just...
Yeah, right in the middle of it. And he's like, oh, they're going to get infected with this. The Imperial Guard, he's like, they got it. It's just funny.
Yeah.
But it's like the opportunity, I don't remember, the advancement of the gospel is wherever we are.
Yes,
Doesn't matter.
dude. It's so true.
Yeah.
It's so true. And I don't think that it even always has to come by words.
Mm-mm. No.
Like our very essence being in a space and being present.
Yeah.
We can shift things.
Yeah, that's it.
You know, you were telling that story about running down the trail and you're like throwing bombs at people, like, just in your mind. That's
Feeling
what I
it.
always see it.
Yeah.
But I literally will do that. I will just be walking places and I will be praying for these people and just like releasing light over them without them even knowing it.
Yes.
And I see it like a fireball that I just throw at them.
Yeah, you throw your intention for them, your love for them. I don't hit them with it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they don't, well, maybe they do.
Maybe they do.
Yeah.
Because I would pray, I would pray that people would feel the shift of heaven around them, that they would feel like immediately enveloped and nobody say a word.
Right.
Like that the reality would just drop.
Right. Yeah.
Anyways. It's like, we are undercover agents.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what you do.
Yeah.
You can see everybody like that. You can take that with you, in the grocery store and just look at people with intention and value.
Mm-hmm. Think about how many times people don't look, like even make eye contact and smile.
Yeah, I know. Oh, I know it. That's okay. So my little runs, everybody's probably like, what's this weirdo like smiling and stuff? I like wave at people. I've been working on doing that.
Yeah.
Waving at everybody or smiling or nodding. But there are some of them that won't. They won't even look at you, and some of them that won't wave back. Yeah, it's interesting.
Wow.
Oh, another good one is patience. That's one. And I'm doing some. Anyways, I'm writing something out right now for something. It doesn't matter. But like patience, every time I go into the grocery store, I mean this. Whenever we're at home and like Kelsey's like, oh, I need you to run and get like laundry detergent. We're out of it or something. Any little trips I got to make, I always get tied up in the line. And when I go get water, like the big cases of water, I'll carry it instead of get a buggy. And then I always get stuck. And it's just this patience tester. But every time, all the time, this happens. So I go into Drug Emporium to get, I think it was water or something, or my Quest chips. And I'm in line. It's like two things. And there's a woman in front of me with a buggy full of stuff. And she puts some hairspray up on the counter. And the guy's like scanning it. He's like, this doesn't exist in our system. And so he's like, I'm going to go get another one. So he leaves. It's this whole ordeal. And she's like stressed out. And she goes, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry, honey. And I was like, I said, oh, it's fine. I'm patient. Which shocks people. When you tell people you're patient, it shocks people.
Yeah.
And she was like, okay. And turned. And we ended up in these little conversations, and she was like, oh, men are so patient and good under pressure and stuff. But anyways, it just hits people when you do that, because everybody has the mindset of like, I'm busy, I got to get my stuff and get out. Even I guess she was expecting
pushback,
or to blame it on the worker, like they should have their crap in order so we can get out of here, But anytime that happens, just throw that out and say, I'm good. I'm patient. Or don't apologize. That's what I tell people all the time. It's like, don't be sorry. I tell people that all the time.
I know. I love it.
Yeah.
It gets me.
But it breaks the little cycle of it. And the I'm patient thing, that gives them it's the invitation of, you can be patient too. It's something to have in those moments. It's always the grocery store. And then I go home and I'm like, yeah, this lady had 25 pages of coupons in front of me, and then, pickle jar busted. And it's always something.
That's hysterical.
It's like KFC. We're out of chicken.
How you out of chicken at KFC, though?
We're out of chicken strips. I was like, oh, okay, well, I'll get a spicy chicken sandwich. Yeah, we're out of those chicken patties, too. But anyways, stuff like that happens. And it could be like, oh, why does this always happen to me? Why does this always happen to me? I'm just have bad luck.
You know what I love about that statement, though? About like, I'm patient. How much you affirm that you really do carry the fruit of the Spirit.
Yeah.
Like, what if you started saying that over your own life? Like, no big deal. I'm love.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, it's the same. Yeah.
I'm love.
Yeah.
No big deal. I've got joy.
Yeah.
And not being fake about it.
No, right.
That crap
it's
drives
genuine.
me nuts. But, yeah.
Like. Yeah.
Like, if people affirm themselves like that.
Yeah.
And not in a weird way, but
right.
To where they keep that narrative. Like, oh, it's okay. I'm gentle.
Right.
I'm gentle about this.
Yeah. It kind of chills the atmosphere too.
Yeah.
It does. It's like, I mean, if you're in a car or something and somebody's behind you and there's traffic and you're like, I want to get going so they can get going. It's like that pressure. But yeah, if you're the person behind the person and they're causing the block up and you're like, it really is good. It's fine. It relieves them of pressure.
It's so interesting.
Yeah.
It's a good thought.
It's a choice though.
You got anything else?
I don't think so.
One question. What was something that you practiced to develop resolve in your person?
Oh, that's good. Let me think about it. Well, one of them is seeing love in people with crappy attitudes and whatnot. People I hated. People that get on my nerves. Is you confronting it in the moment when somebody does something.
Yeah.
Being conscious of, I'm not going to see them by that. They're not defined by that. That's probably one of the most important ones, too, I would say.
Yeah.
What about yourself?
I think some of the things that have developed within me that has created some of is choosing to bless people when I feel betrayed by them.
Yes.
And choosing to bless them when I even feel cursed by them. Or even felt like they did me wrong.
Right.
Like
that or when they did do you wrong.
Or when they literally did do me wrong.
Legitimately. Yeah.
Yeah, like being diligent to bless them has caused me to actually it felt like it like blew up my person, if that makes sense.
It tears a rift in time and space when you do that. Because there's literally, you have no, that's cool. That's the counter to it. And it's like you don't have to at all. It's like they don't deserve it almost, but you do it anyways.
Yeah. Well, that's what the Lord did. So
that's what he did. Yeah, that's what he says to do. Yeah.
We just model after our God.
That's taking authority over situations. Yeah.
And I have seen more fruit come out of it in my own life. Not anything to do with them. I mean, I see fruit come out of their life later.
Yeah.
But there's something that gets added to you when you choose the way of the Lord, like to bless somebody. Yeah. And genuinely bless them, not like, man, I bless their little heart. Yeah. You know, but like genuinely go after like, okay, this thing happened from them, but Lord, show me what they are. Show me who they really are. Yeah. And then speak that and then pray that and then bless them. And like just almost like turning up the dial. Yeah. Like just doing the thing. But that's what I think is. That was a thing that developed resolve. Because I think resolve looks like, I believe everybody is actually loyal to the Lord. I do, like in their core. Yeah. I think that it is so much fear or even just not knowing what to do that prevents people from walking out the loyalty. Yeah. Like, I think everybody's got resolve within them, right? But there's this disconnect of like discipline. Yeah. This disconnect of like not defending yourself. Like it's a discipline to let things go. It's a discipline to, man, okay, so Zach said this to me the other day. He said that the most free people are the most forgiving people. Yeah. And I was like, that is brilliant. Because if you look at Bexley, my daughter, who is literally on crack cocaine, I think, in a nice way. The girl is wild. Yeah. When I screw up and I yell at her because she's eating another plant, she loves plants. Yeah. It's like her thing. She loves to eat the roots. Maybe that's prophetic.
Yeah, it could be.
And I like raise my voice. Yeah. I'll like look her in the eye and I apologize. I'm like, Bexley, Mommy's sorry for yelling at you. I just need you not to do that. Da da da. Well, she'll look me in the eye. Yeah. And then she'll give me a hug. Oh. And I'm like, that girl forgot. Like that girl actually just forgave me. Yeah. But she's so free.
Doesn't hold on to it. Yeah.
Doesn't hold on to it. She's just like living her life. I'm like, yo, I feel like I've learned more from my 2-year-old daughter than all the other years of my life. Yeah. But it is like that. The most free people are the most forgiving. Right. You don't hold on to a single thing.
You're untouchable. Yeah.
You are untouchable.
You are.
Like, I don't know. It's just my thoughts. What do you got on it?
No, that's it. Well put. Yeah. Nothing sticks.
It can't stick.
Mm-hmm. You're unstickable.
You're unstickables.
Yeah.
All right.
And then even like, I mean, forgiveness is a lot of it's for yourself. But even for that other, when you hold something against somebody else, it's like there is some sort of string still attached in the ethers or something. Like it's still there. But with the forgiveness, that's not even there. Mm-hmm. It's like they're released. You know?
Yeah.
Imagine a bunch of forgivers.
Like
everybody.
Wild, passionate forgivers.
Yeah.
Like the amount of zeal that would come over people just to forgive.
Yeah. Imagine a world where every single person is a forgiver.
Yeah.
No strings. There's no sticky, nothing.
Listen, I think shame would be completely dismantled.
It would. Yeah. That wouldn't leave room for it.
Nope.
There'd be no place for it to occupy. It's cool.
Yeah. All right, well, it was a great one.
Yep.
Can't wait for the next.
Yep. Bye-bye.